Hello, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well and staying safe. And I encourage everybody to take the COVID vaccine and the flu vaccine if they are around you. I took the booster dose of the Moderna vaccine yesterday, and if they are available in your location, please take it. Generally, it is safe and provides a lot of protection. Today, we're going to talk about the difference between reality and perception of the reality, the difference between the real world around us and the inner world inside our heads. Uh, can I tell you a conclusion of this video? There is no real world. There is no real world around us. We create it in our head. You create your own world inside your head. And whatever you create internally will be reflected on how do you see the world and what do you see in the world and what you don't see in the world. What we call selective attention and selective perception. So the world is bombarding us with millions and millions of stimuli every day from everywhere around us. And what happened inside our brain is a process of filtering the stimuli that goes into our head, number one, filter there. If this filter is wide open, you will be bombarded by everything. If you narrow your filter a little, you will allow certain stimuli to come in and other stimuli don't come in. So you selectively choose what you see. You selectively choose what you hear. And then the next step comes, which is the interpretation of what you see and what you hear and what you touch and what you smell and what you taste. So we have 5 sensory modalities, and parallel to them, there are 5 perceptual modalities, which is the meaning of what you see, the meaning of what you feel, the meaning of what you perceive, what's around you. What exactly happened is in your brain is a process of interpretation of the thing that you allow to come in. And that process of filtering the stimuli is based on your past experiences, especially childhood experiences. And of course, we have to repeat again that genetics has a role in that. So you're born with some genetic predisposition to how sensitive you are to the environment. Why are you sensitive to the environment more than others? That's, you have no control over it. Some people are born with this kind of diathesis, we call it, or predisposition to see the world differently. You add to that your early childhood experiences, creates your belief system around about yourself, about others, and about the world. That belief system shapes that reality. So if inside you you're not accepting yourself, if inside you have a deep sense of insecurity, if deep inside you have deep fears, you have deep conflicts from the past that you were not able to forgive, you were not able to let go, it will be stored in your unconscious, and it will be the force behind all your perceptions. If you're not accepting yourself, you're not going to accept others easily. That's why when somebody tells me, why are people bad with me? Why are people treating me this way? Why there is a lot of evil in the world? I prefer to reflect it inside us and say, what about the evil inside our heads? What about the negativity inside us? What about our inability to accept ourselves? In general, the people who accept themselves as humans, forgive themselves, forgive their past, forgive their parents, work on their past, and come to a point of acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you're going to stay as you are. You accept your own mess, love your mess, and move on. You have to love your mess for who you are first. And then after that, you start to work on improving that mess and cleaning that mess. But if you're always hiding that mess, you don't want to deal with it, it's irritating you, and you push that mess always under the rug because the smell bothers you, you will never improve because that smell will be the force behind all your perceptions. You're only gonna see bad things in the world. You're only gonna attract bad things, bad people to you and bad things to you because that's how your brain works. And if you had some experiences early in your life as a child and traumatic experiences as a child, it tends to repeat itself, what we call repetition compulsion. Your brain functions a lot with the habits, it's the habituation. That's why sometimes we see people create an environment, create a reality in their head that looks exactly the same like what happened to them as a child. Whether in relationships or in life or on the job, you see people repeating. If you want to stop repeating your mistakes, repeating your experiences, if you want to improve, you have to work on yourself first. You have to clean the mess inside you. And you have to stop doing what you're doing and take a moment, take a day, take a month, take a year to work on yourself first. If we have a lot of insecurities inside us that we cannot handle, that's very painful. We always tend to latch to the first person or the first experience that give us comfort. And usually that experience does not give us comfort for a long time. And we end up falling into the same hole every time. So it becomes like a trap. You started and you end it. It all starts with you and ends with you. Your inner world determines your outer world. So stop talking about other people and why are they bad. Yes, people are bad because that's the nature of life. People are selfish because that's the nature of life. People are stupid because that's the nature of life. People are lazy because that's the nature of life. And we have to acknowledge that selfishness, stupidity, laziness, and fear is inside us as well. You see it easily in others, you don't see it in yourself. What's the best way to change our situation, our life to the better, is not to focus on others, is not to focus on the world around us, is to focus on our internal world that creates our perception of the external world. We are genetically wired to negative thoughts. You're going to tell me why. Why positive thoughts require a lot of energy? because genetically and evolutionary, your brain is wired to accept negative thoughts easier than positive thoughts. Because your ancestors, millions of years ago, who adopted these negative thoughts and fear of the environment, they survived. Because you're always afraid that somebody's going to attack you. You're always afraid that somebody is going to eat you up. So your brain is wired to adopt negativity by its nature because negative thoughts protect you from the environment. So if you're afraid to leave the house because people are going to eat you up, that's the nature. You need energy to overcome that. If you let your brain go by momentum, it's going to tell you don't do it. And that's what's stored inside you. So it's the fight between your higher brain and your lower brain. And I always tell you that we have three brains inside us. We have the snake brain, the reptilian brain, which help us survive. It's about breathing, about blood pressure, maintaining our daily functions, bodily functions, which is the spinal cord, the brain stem, and a small part of the midbrain. Then you have the what we call the mammalian brain, which is full of emotions, full of deep-seated thoughts that was stored. That's where the unconscious is. The unconscious is stored inside those nuclei in the middle brain, the hippocampus, the amygdala, the basal ganglia, that's where you create the habits. And then you have the outer layer of the brain, which is the higher brain, the neocortex, the prefrontal cortex. That's the last one to develop, and that's who we are as humans. But still, the fight is going on. The fight is going on between that old brain that we all share and the new brain. They call it new cortex. New cortex means the new brain. So we have a new brain that we developed and we continue to develop, by the way. And if you want to improve your life, you have to develop your higher brain, your neocortex, in a better way to be able to control the lower brain. And that fight continues every day. And many cases, and believe me, that lower brain always wins the fight. It always wins the fight because it is fueled by a lot of genetics, survival, and also past experiences. So your lower brain is more powerful to begin with. You have to be aware of that. That's why I'm talking to you, trying to talk to your higher brain how to control your lower brain. That lower brain will shape your world in a negative way. It have a tendency to shape your world based on fear, based on avoidance. Doesn't want you to advance. It wants you to protect yourself from the lions and the snakes and the tigers who will eat you up. Now we are humans, but still the humans will eat you up. They are not going to eat you up physically, but they will eat you up mentally. It's a survival game. So you're afraid of that. And because of that, you tend to avoid that. And the people start to control themselves. The same thing. You don't eat each other physically. We eat each other mentally and how powerful we are. And it's about control. It's about the hierarchy. It's about comparison. It's about who's better than who. It's about who has better things than who has more things than who's richer and poorer, who's powerful or not, who's more beautiful, who's more successful. That's the fight. It still continues. And don't be surprised when if you're surprised why the world is that bad. I will tell you, I am really sorry. It may be that you are naive. The world has never been good all the time, have never been good. And if somebody told you that at some point the world was good and was perfect, they are lying to you. If somebody can tell you that at some point of this millions and millions and billions of years, the world was just all good and now we are bad, they are lying to you. And I think there may be evidence that actually the world is better now than it was 500 years ago. So don't let anybody deceive you and give you a narrow view of something to convince you that this situation, no, 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 no. If you're neutral at looking at history, you will understand the world differently and you will be more realistic in understanding of the world. And you will not be surprised and say, oh my God, this is bad. Don't say that. That's normal. That's normal. That fight is normal. Our job is to try to get the best for ourselves and for the people we love around us. If you create a world that has some element of fairness, some element of goodness, that's how we change the world. Just you and the people around you. You and the people around you. And you will not be able to do that unless you change your inner world. How do you change your inner world? You need to go open those old files and start to clean it one day at a time. Before that, I'll give you a platform just to calm you down when you do that process. We all have that inner files inside us that's full of dirt. We all have that. It's not only you. So we all have it. And I told you, we're genetically wired to have all this mess inside us. So you're not alone in that. So calm down. Don't compare yourself with anybody. Just work on yourself. Realize that you and everybody in the world around you are struggling like you. They don't show it. They don't show it. It's a different type of struggle with the self. We all have that. And every now and then we see these celebrities who have problems. And you ask yourself, why these celebrities who are rich and have everything, they ended up killing themselves or have a suicide attempt? Yes, because we're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. Celebrity status give you some satisfaction for a short period of time. But unless you deal with the mess inside you, you will not be able to be satisfied for a long time. There is a process of habituation that happens. You get used to the wealth. You get used to the everything. You get used to the fame and you hate it after a while. Because all what you need before you go to bed by yourself, alone, to have some sense of acceptance of who you are. And if you are still young, always work on that. Always work on that process of accepting who you are and cleaning your mess one day at a time. Don't compare. You're not less and you're not better than anybody else. At that level, we're all the same. If you're able to change, number one, that's the platform I want you to start with. You're not alone in this. We've all had some experiences that shape our reality, and our genes push us for the negativity because it protects us. So let's start with that and start to build on this. Start to build on this one day at a time. And if you have somebody around you, one person that you can trust, deeply trust, and you can share those experiences together, not with everybody, but learn together, grow together. That's a helpful thing. We are social human, we are social beings. We need that. It's not how many people you know. It's not how many people you're connected with. No, it's that strength of connections. This the first study at Harvard. that studied the quality of life and the people's development since they were born. It has been going on for many years. They found that the quality of life and the happiness in old age is dependent on two things. Number one, a sense of gratitude, accepting what you have, accepting who you are, and also the strength of connections with small amounts of people. The strength of connection between you and very small number of people, not a lot. The people that you love and you share love with. So that should be your goal. It's not how much money you have, it's not what house you have, what car you have, not what you own, it's not your fame. It's accepting yourself for what you're doing. You could be just, few people and you do small things and you're very happy. And we see that all the time. We see people who are completely unknown in a small village in the middle of Africa and or in the middle of Asia or in the middle of America, and they are so satisfied and happy in their lives in comparison with people who have a lot, who are multi-millionaires and billionaires. Because of those two things, sense of gratitude, you're accepting yourself for who you are, and you have few people that you love around you. You have few people that you care about. Remember, it's not the people who care about you that make you happy. No. It's not the people who care about you that make you happy. It's actually the opposite. It's the people that you care for, and you're happy that you care for is what will make you happy. It's a mutual thing. When you care for somebody without expecting the result, if you care for somebody because you want the love back, that's not the real care, the genuine care. That caring for somebody, okay, just because you feel you're good and you deserve to be caring. The people who reach that point will be satisfied. And if you did not reach it, work towards that. These are goals we all need to work on. We all in the same boat. We need to work on that. So our goal is to reach that point, sense of gratitude and some sort of personal connection with few people around us. Not a lot, no comparison, no fame, nothing. Just you and few people around you, and you'll be the happiest person on earth. This is not going to happen unless you change your inner world and you fight your lower brains and you fight your genetic predisposition towards negativity. Negative thoughts are the basis for our thinking. Cognitive bias. Cognitive bias. We are biased by our nature. Selective attention. Our belief system about ourselves, about the world, about other people shapes our perception of them. And if you start the morning afraid of people, you're going to find the people you are afraid of. If you change your inner world, those people who scare you will disappear. You're going to tell me how? Yes. I told you, you're bombarded by millions of stimuli. You choose what to select and what not. Our perception is highly selective. I told you that filter. And that filter, you could work on it. There's actually a filter that you go through, that things go through you. There are holes there in that filter. It can be small holes. Some people have filters with big holes in them. Everything hits them, everything hits them, everything hits them. And some people have this kind of small holes. You can be selective. So that's filter. You need to change your filter inside your brain. That's very important. How do you do that? You go back and you clean yourself and start a process of letting go and forgiveness, keeping in mind we are in the same boat. That's the platform you work on. I am like anybody else. The difference between human beings on this universe is not qualitative, it's quantitative. It's not some people are afraid and some people are not afraid. It's how much fear do we have. Some people have 10% fear, some people have 90% fear. Some people one day can have 10% and one day can have 90% based on their internal world that determines that external world and what's going on in their external world. Even the point of psychosis, when you become psychotic, we all become psychotic in our dreams. You're going to tell me, what about schizophrenics? You become very close to schizophrenia in your dream. In your dream, you see things differently, and your perceptions are completely distorted, exactly like what goes on inside a schizophrenic brain. So even patients who are seriously mentally ill that we treat, we have a touch of that. The difference is, so we have that propensity to become psychotic. We have that. How much is the expression of that is genetically determined. So you're wired, you could become psychotic at any time. You could become depressed at any time. We're all the same. Human brain is the same. The difference between us is in numbers. How much insecurity we have, how much fear we have, how much psychosis we have, how much intelligence we have. So calm down and don't compare yourself and don't talk about bad luck. Yes. Yes. Life is not fair and life is not predictable. Whatever luck you have, don't dwell too much and whine a lot about it. You need to stop whining. You need to stop whining and asking yourself why I am like that. That's who you are. You're born with some genetic makeup. You didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose your childhood experiences. You didn't choose anything. You just put there. You find yourself at age 18 by who you are, and then you fight life after that. You didn't choose the place of birth. You needed to choose the wealth your parents had. You didn't even choose what religion or what philosophical view of the world. It just forced it on you in the first few years of life. And by age 16, 18, 20, 21, you find yourself by yourself in the world. Even before that, by age 3, you start to look for your food yourself. And we don't know what your mother did, your father did, and the relation between your mom and your dad. All this shapes you. So let's just slow down a little bit, accept ourselves for who we are, forgive, let go. Forgiveness of ourselves, not even others. Forgive yourself. You're human. You're weak. You're insecure. You're afraid. Yes, we all like that. The problem comes when people start to compare themselves with others. If you reach that point and you calm down and you live your day one day at a time and you start to work on yourself, and all what you need to do is to have success in living another day. Success in living another day. When I took the COVID vaccine booster dose yesterday, I told my wife, maybe we got another 6 months of COVID-free life. Then I told her, but we can be hit by a car, we can be hit by salmonella bacteria, we can have an aneurysm rupturing, but at least we're doing our best. So that 6 months, then I thought, I was so happy that I woke up this morning and another day came. That's it. That's what I want you to perceive life. So the vaccine will protect you only against the COVID-19, at least severe illness. It's not gonna protect you if you're hit by something from the sky, hit by lightning maybe, or hit by a car, or hit by a truck, or something. Yes, there's no guarantee in life. Just be happy with this moment that you're still alive. And at that moment, be proud of yourself that you did your best to change something in you, change something around you to the better. That's what it is. If your turmoil, that volcano inside you is firing, your life will not be good, and you need to work on it and working on this volcano. And you don't want to silence it by doing things from the outside or by expecting others to silence your volcano for you. You have to work on working on that volcano and try to calm it down on your own internally. Because if you have volcano in your head, you're going to see volcanoes everywhere else. That's what you see. Your brain will be shaped, wired to see volcanoes, to see turmoil, to see violence, to see anger, to see evil, because of the evil inside you. If you tell me I hate evil, I will tell you, what about the evil inside you? People are bad. What about the badness inside you? That's what's always. It's a reflection. It's a mirror. Your perception of the world, the outer world, is a reflection of your inner world, and you have to understand that. If you consider this a philosophy of life, a way of thinking, whatever you call it, but that change of the way you see things, the way you perceive things, the way you think, might help you to take the first step for today to be a little bit better and calm down this internal turmoil that your deep brain is wired to continue to have, because it protects you from the lions and tigers and hyenas around you that now are human beings. There's no difference. There is no difference. So be aware. Stop talking about people. Stop analyzing people. Stop saying why. Stop whining about how people treat you. Stop all of that. Really, all of this energy you need to stop spending on the outside world. You need to take it and work on yourself. If you can do that, you're going to be happier, you're going to be more successful, you're going to need people less. This anxious attachment and desire to get some comfort from outside, it's never going to go away. We all need comfort from outside, but it's going to be less. As I told you, don't look at things about either or. No, it's all a continuum, it's all numbers, it's all how much. So you're going to be less dependent on others to give you comfort and more dependent on yourself. So if your ability to comfort yourself is 10%, you always need 90% from others to satisfy you and give you comfort. And if you're like that, you're going to be struggling a lot. So what I want you to do is to give yourself comfort 20%, then the 90 become 80%. A month from now, it might be 30%. A month from now, it might be 50%, 60%. And you reach a point of maturity that you don't need people that much. Not because you hate them. Remember, there's a difference between isolation because of helplessness and solitude and accepting yourself because you're satisfied from inside. Don't mix the two. I hate you bad people. It's better for me. It's safer for me to be in my home by myself. That's not what I'm asking you about. That's what your genes tell you. The lions are outside, stay at home. That's the negativity. No, there is a way of accepting yourself, loving your solitude, loving you being by yourself. Okay, so your neediness to others is less. You're going to be more effective. Is to decrease your neediness, anxious attachment. Yes, isolation versus solitude. Huge difference between the two. Some people mix the two. So isolation becomes like a defense mechanism against the danger from outside. I tried hard to get love from people, care from people. Nobody gave me anything. I'm going to be at home by myself because I'm afraid of you guys. because you're bad. That's not healthy. What's the healthy way is that you understand life differently now, understand that we all have problems, understand that people are not created to satisfy your needs. People have their own needs, and your neediness and your attachment to people become healthier. I'm more satisfied internally, and at that time, I'm gonna attract people to my life who are also satisfied internally, and that's a healthy relationship. Two people who are satisfied internally, their inner world is healthy. You get a person with their inner world is disturbed, a lot of turmoil inside them. And I don't care if these people are celebrities, millionaires, very successful people, very beautiful people, very attractive people. Just always look for the inner world. If your inner world is you're satisfied, I don't care who you are, I don't care how you look, I don't care what you have, you're going to be satisfied. You're capable of loving others in a healthy way. There is a difference between real, true love, true caring, and attachment that's very unhealthy, that's very enmeshed. Try to avoid this enmeshment. That when people say that we love each other too much, we can separate from each other. Please learn to separate from each other. That's not good. You need to be like this. You need to be close to each other, but not like this. That's give me some hints there that what's going on. You need an individual who's separate entity, identity, another person with a separate entity, identity, who love each other, care about each other, enjoy each other's company, but not dependent on each other emotionally. You're gonna tell me, but we need somebody, but we can't. Yeah, I'm telling you, there is a difference between this. I want you to be like this, it's fine, but I don't want you to be like this. That's dangerous. When the relationship is like this, I guarantee you, this is not gonna last long, and it end up going like this. Relationship that start like this will end up like this, because you can maintain this for a long time. Relationship that start like this could stay like this, because there is emotional independence. Each one has an identity, has an entity that is satisfied with, capable of functioning alone. A person capable of functioning alone, a person that capable of functioning alone can be together very easily. A person who cannot function alone, who's looking for a person like him who cannot function alone, and they think they function as a unit, this will work for a short period of time. It looks wonderful, by the way. Looks wonderful because you found your soulmate. I found this, I found this, I found this. But if you're not stable from inside, this will result in hatred, 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 hatred. It's always like that. So your inner world shapes your outer world. And if you're gonna tell you, if I give you an extreme view, you might want to say that there is no outer world anyway. You're not seeing me now, and you're not seeing that portrait behind me, and you're not seeing whatever those flowers behind me. Your brain tells you these things, and this might not be true. Your brain tells you, you're watching a live video on Sunday. Your brain tells you that about me and about these pictures in front of you, behind you. But your perception of me, the few people who watch me, each one of you perceive me differently. So each one of you have a different internal world that make you see me differently. So I don't exist. What's inside your head is a reflection of who I am. It's not my reality. And make this some basis for thinking when you see anything. You tell yourself, my assumptions, I made a video in English, assumptions can destroy your life if you want to return to it. Assumptions can destroy your life. Expectations can destroy your life because you already enter the experience with assumptions in your head. You're going to make it happen. You're going to make it happen. Be aware of your own inner world. What's that formed of? Formed of your genetics, whatever you're wired, and your mom and dad, and your first 3 years of life, and the losses and the traumas and all of that, which was not perfect. Was not perfect. We have to all acknowledge that our childhood was not perfect to varying degrees. So you need to work on yourself. There are questions about how do we deal with that? How do we deal with this anxious attachment? How do we deal with fear? That's the struggle of life. That's the struggle of life. Continue to learn, continue to work on yourself, continue to listen to these videos, continue to read, continue to work. But it's not about reading a book that will make you change. And I always tell you, if this video will change you to the better, it's not that I gave you new information. No, you know that, and people who listen to me, that I inspired you to start the process of change. And I repeat this all the time. It's inspiration that changes people, not information. That I inspire you to just find it. You say, I got it. Now I need to work on it. Most people don't reach that point. And I might have provided what's called the corrective emotional experience that you saw in me something, don't know what it is, that I inspired you to start to change. What we call the corrective emotional experience. We change by correcting our emotions, not by correcting our thoughts. If I touch your emotions, because the emotions are deep in the brain, and if your emotions and your deep brain start to look for a change, your outer cortex, your neocortex, will start to interact in a healthy way with your inner brain, with your deeper brain. You need that healthy interaction. Yeah, you don't want that fight. You need to be friends with your inner brain. You need to be friends with your fears. You need to be friends with your insecurities. Realize that who you are, that's who I am. That's everybody. So your talk, your communication between your neocortex and your inner brain, your limbic system, your amygdala, your basal ganglia, that keeps going on and on and on and on and on. That's wired for the negative things, want to protect you. People are bad. Don't leave the house. People are going to eat you up. The snakes are there. The lions are there. That's what it is. And I mentioned before that our genes are not programmed for the year 2021. It's programmed for the year million before BC. Million, talk about millions and millions and millions. It's wired. Whatever that the 4 billion or 5 billion cell, that life cell on Earth, that's where it starts to program. It starts to program, continue to program you based on the past. Remember that. That's why, I repeat, we're wired to have negative thoughts, because negative thoughts protect us. And that's how animals survive. They have this sense that there's a lion coming, just run away. And also, they take precautions that if the cognitive bias is actually towards anything that look like a lion. It's not just for lions. If you hear a noise, your brain tells you, oh, it's a lion. The same thing here also in our brains. If you hear a hint about something coming, rejection, you see it as rejection. Same, that genetic mismatch. You're wired to perceive rejection. Even something that might not be. If somebody is busy and look angry on the street and looked at you angrily, you might perceive it that this anger or this disgust or this look is meant to be about you, when in fact this man can have his own struggle. But if your filter is wide open, that look could ruin your day. If you know that person, that would be even worse. But some people are like that. And your brain is wired to perceive insults. to perceive rejection because it protects you, because you don't want this man to harm you. So your neocortex tells you, no, no, we're now advanced brain. Forget about the 100,000 or a million years ago. Now we're living in a society. I am an intelligent person. I need to control my deep inner motives and impulses and fears and insecurities. When you have that communication between your higher brain and lower brain, you will be healthier and you'll be able to open that dialogue inside you. And that's when you clean your inner world and discriminate what's important, what's less important, what's unimportant. Very important. Success in life and sanity in life is determined by your ability to perceive what's important, what's less important, what's unimportant. If everything is important, a person look on the street, a word, this, that, a rejection, you're going to be struggling. Always look at what's important and try to always reassess this hierarchy. Always reassess it. If you can do that, you will not be able to do that before internally you understand yourself better. Forgive your past, let go, and move on. Also, be confident with yourself that you're capable of doing that. And don't forget, when you do that and you have a small success, as small as you're still alive and breathing, and you are not eaten by a lion or by another human being, be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself. Strengthen that cortex. Give it a hand. Tell my cortex, I was able to fight my inner world. I was successful today. Small steps, very small step. You were not hit by the coronavirus, and you were not hit by lightning. But you're good. You're not hit by a truck. You're still alive. You're breathing. Your blood vessels are okay. Just be proud of yourself. Just lower your expectations. Lower your expectations. And then start to build on it, build on it, build on it. It's for you. Don't compare yourself with others. That's the key to the beginning of solving our problems and working on ourselves to deal better with inner world, outer world, and the universe around us. Thank you very much. Stay safe, everybody, and be proud of yourselves for what you're doing. We all struggle. We build on yesterday, on today, on this moment, one day at a time, one moment at a time. And I will see you next week. Thank you very much.